Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Safe House. I'm Jeff Edwards, co-founder of SafeHouse Initiative and your host for today's podcast. Enjoy. Nearly a year ago, the federal cybersecurity policy changed significantly, shifting the bulk of responsibility and necessary funding to the state level. This episode, we are very fortunate to have James Saunders, State of Maryland's Chief Information Security Officer. James, welcome to the Safe House.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for the invitation. Excited to be here and talk to you and the audience.
Why don't you share with our audience, get to know our audience a little bit more. Tell them about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Most certainly. It started way back in 2007 is the way I like to think about it. But overall, I like to frame my career journey in kind of two parts. One is, constantly choosing the most difficult job available. It's more fun and more challenging for me that way. And then the other is my training, my education, and the roles I take are really built around three pillars. One being technology expertise, the second being project management, and then third, actively building out business acumen. My first job where I consider part of my IT or cybersecurity journey does start back in 2007 when I was a Comcast technical support specialist. I was that person who you called in and say, hey, I'm having trouble with my phone or my internet or my TV. And it was my job at that time to try to help resolve it over the phone, remotely. And what was unique about that is people that call in have different levels of technical acumen and skills. So you had to learn quickly, how one to rapidly build rapport, and assess how best going to convey what I need this person to do over the phone within my average handle time. And then second, I had to learn to build empathy with the individual over the line because they may have needed that phone to work at that time because there was a certain call they needed to come in, or they needed the internet to be working because they're trying to get you a job interview. So it's really had to at that point in my life and career, actually, well, really beginning my career, had to learn that technology is more than just ones and zeros and hardware and software. This actually impacts people.
Well, yeah, because you had to read people pretty quick and over the phone, which is a tough thing to do.
It is, and I commend everyone that's currently there doing this type of role. Not just at that organization, but at others. It's tough, it's challenging, but it's so necessary because technology is meant for people to achieve their personal and professional goals, and we're there to help. And that's a theme throughout my whole career, as we get through it a little bit more. So that's where it started.
Great training ground. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. I definitely agree. So from there, thinking back here, like July of 2010, joined a small health insurance or international health insurance company in Towson, Maryland, which is just north of Baltimore City. And there I was like desktop support, essentially help desk. But this is where I started falling in love with cybersecurity. There was an issue, if I recall correctly. This is when exploit kits, like when you go to a website and it try to drop malware on your computer, that was the tool and tactic of the day. And remember, sitting next to a senior system admin who was responding to that, and I'm just watching him work. He pulled out Process Explorer, and I'm seeing strings and threads and processes, and I'm like, Jim, what are you doing? Teach me this. And that's when it was like, okay, this could be a career path. So this is where around the time I started my master's degree at University of Maryland University College, which is now known as University of Maryland Global Campus. And I took up cybersecurity technology because this is what I want to do now. So from the, right, it's definitely was exciting. I was like this is my jam.
Yeah. So now you're inspired and you're excited. Yeah.
hmm And I see a lot of this, like especially with like early career talent. Like I see the same spark in that energy. And that's why I love early career talent because they got that drive. Like they want to
Yeah.
make this their career.
Yeah. Nice.
Um, from there, I was like, all right, cybersecurity is what I want to do for my career. So I joined a contract at supporting USAID, the United States Agency for International Development. I
Yeah.
joined there as a network security and Splunk engineer. And then I moved through different contracts, one supporting the Centers for Medicare, Medicaid Services, specifically supporting healthcare.gov. But this is where my leadership career really started kicking off. I started there as a reverse malware engineer. At that time, that was my career, my dream job. I wanted to break malware all day, every day. But then I started getting into more progressively management, supervisory management leadership roles where I was the incident management team lead supporting healthcare.gov under the, the deputy CISO there.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately becoming the what is known as the CKIC or the Cybersecurity Integration Center manager, where so where I was responsible for leading teams. So leading teams, multiple teams, plural, is different than leading a team. So I had to learn
Mm-hmm.
how to lead and manage other leaders,
Which
which
gets
is
you back to your project management capabilities, I would imagine.
exactly. It goes back to project management. It goes back to back when I was saying building rapport and empathy.
Yep.
All that starts to tie and fuse together.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so from there, I moved on and supported uh, Social Security Administration as well as Security Exchange Commission on a contract under Essential Federal Services. And I spent roughly about a little more than a year supporting those two organizations, about 6 months each. But this is where I was really focused on honing in that project management capability,
Yeah.
but also learning, business development, learning how to look at running security programs from a financial perspective.
Mm.
So you can start to see how this is all cascaded
Building.
together.
Yeah, no, it's building very nicely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's about 2018. So I remember having a phone call with one of my mentors, Bo Hauser, who was the deputy CISO at CMS. But then at that time, the CISO for the United States Small Business Administration, he called. It's like, James, no, are you ready to continue to serve your United States and the citizens? I was like, yeah. And then I was selected to be the chief cybersecurity architect for United States Small Business Administration. That's about April-ish of 2018. And so now I'm a federal employee. Now I'm responsible for major programs, helping secure that organization. Um, and it was fantastic work. We're doing early work in using the cloud to extend to on-premise environments. So really that hybrid environment concept.
Mm-hmm.
Early work in zero trust, which ultimately became a really big shift in security architecture across the government as well as across the private sector as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where this gets interesting from me. About a little more than a year in, my mentor Bo, he moved on to take another leadership role, another CISO role within the federal government, and there was a vacancy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm gonna apply. They're probably going to say no, but it's worth a shot, right?
Yeah.
That's a piece of advice I give everyone. Always go for it. You never know what's going to happen.
That's
And for
good
me,
advice. Yeah.
I interviewed with the CIO, Maria Roth, who ultimately became the deputy federal CIO, and the CTO there, and they selected me. And I remember sitting at my desk like, oh snap, I'm a CISO now.
Mm.
Um,
Nice.
but what was unique about that role is that it was about 1 week before the COVID pandemic kicked off. So I didn't have enough time and didn't have the benefit of, you know, sitting in there and fretting. It was time to go. I think the nation shifted to remote work. At the time, we had to work on getting out the Paycheck Protection Program and those funds and the EIDL loans, and my role was helping support building those systems, helping the agency shift to remote work. A lot of great, fast, furious work happening there, and it was just really inspiring. So that's where I became a CISO for the first time. From there, I had the opportunity to join the Office of Personnel Management. Started off as a senior advisor for cloud and cyber, focused on modernization. But then I had the opportunity to apply to be the CISO, and the same story. Applied, I was selected. But what's unique about this one is I became a senior executive service member, SES, and that's the highest position you can get as a career professional in the federal government, and I was ecstatic, over the moon. So did that about 3 years, and towards the end, spent a little bit of my time at OPM as the deputy CIO. But kind of get to where I am now. From there, I had the amazing opportunity to join the state of Maryland. I applied for the role, and went through the interview process, and I was ultimately selected by Secretary Savage, who is the Department of IT Secretary for Maryland, and approved by Governor Moore. And there's one more step for me to drop the acting part of the title, which is being confirmed by the state Senate. But I was immensely humbled and honored, because now I'm able to.
It's a big job. Yeah, it's a huge job.
It is, and like being able to support home. Annapolis is not too far away from Baltimore. You can see the direct impact of the decisions you're making with my organization, with my peers and partners, and how it impacts Marylanders, like right there. And it's amazing. So I'm happy to be where I'm at. I'm home, supported and surrounded by an amazing team of cybersecurity and privacy professionals across the state. Secretary Savage has an amazing team. All the executives are amazing, and state agencies and local government partners. I don't want to be nowhere else. I'm loving what I'm doing right now.
It's a lot of, you can tell the passion in your voice. It's nice to hear. Now, so when you joined Maryland, and as I understand it, you have Maryland has an IT master plan with like 5 primary goals. Could you kind of walk us through that, and then maybe we'll dig into those a bit more and how they apply to what you're doing and how you see the cybersecurity positioning for Maryland in the future?
Most certainly. So to kind of set the frame for what the IT master plan is, think of it as the IT strategy for DeWitt, as well as for Secretary Savage and her vision for the state as it relates to information technology. It was published August 2025, and you can find it on dewitt.maryland.gov. Okay. So from the 3 main priorities, like overall for the IT master plan, is 1, building DeWitt's and agency capacity. And what that really means is making sure we have the cybersecurity and IT talent within DeWitt, as well as across agencies. The second is user-centric service delivery, and it's all about kind of going really back to what I was saying about Comcast a while ago, or at least my role there. It's about making sure the services and technologies that we build is meant for the intended user.
Got it.
And then the third big one is centralization of support to the agencies. For various different reasons, it's and I actually touched on some of the reasons. For some respects, from a cost perspective, from a standardized user perspective, as well as ensuring good governance, centralizing certain aspects of the IT program makes sense. But we also have to make sure that we're providing good customer service and good delivery to those agencies. So those are the big 3 from a overall strategy perspective. But within the IT master plan exists the cybersecurity strategy for the state as well.
So which one is do you think is the easy or the most the quickest to produce results, and which one's the longer term, more difficult one in your opinion?
That one's tricky, because those big 3 goals overarches the whole IT master plan. But
Yeah.
I can answer that question more from the cybersecurity strategy part, and I'll run through those really quick. So it's five of them. One is a
Hmm.
cyber resilient architecture, and you can really think about that as building in zero trust so that we can achieve digital resilience. Then we have statewide cybersecurity and privacy governance, risk and compliance. Third is advancing central cybersecurity services.
Hmm.
Uh, Four is maturing our local cybersecurity program and public-private partnerships. And then fifth is developing cybersecurity talent. Um, so of those five, what I think will have the most immediate impact um, would be the partnership one.
Yeah.
And,
Okay. Hmm.
and personally, that's really big to me. And the
But it
reason why
seems
I
if
think,
it suits you, it suits your personal skills. I mean, you seem to have a high degree of interpersonal skills that you've developed over your career, and so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sorry to interrupt you.
oh, no worries, you're definitely fine there. You're right. And the reason I say this is the most immediate impact is let's say we're having a bad day, or we need to make a change, or we just need to make a shift. By
Hmm.
having those pre-existing relationships, the ability to to sit down and have a conversation coming from a human to human perspective or a person to person perspective, that's key. The last thing you
Hmm.
really want to do is come in with the perspective of, I'm the state CISO, or I have cybersecurity authority, and
Hmm.
thou shalt do X, Y, and Z. Well, yes, that exists and it's there. It's really, hey, look, we need to sit down and figure out how can we achieve this perspective together. So if we can achieve that, and which I think we're really successful at, everything else, the other four objectives I just talked about,
Hmm.
becomes a little bit easier to do.
Yeah. What I'm curious about the talent, developing and recruiting talent. How is that from your perspective so far?
Yep. So there's a couple different lenses to look at that from the state perspective. The Department of Labor looks at it from a really broad workforce perspective. The Department of Commerce looks at it from building economic capabilities across the state. But for me, is really making sure that my team has the skills needed to do their jobs and deliver great value to the state agencies and local governments. So
Mm.
there's really three different areas that I'm focusing on. One is cybersecurity,
Hmm.
second is artificial intelligence, and then third is
Mm.
privacy, because
Mm.
all three of those are heavily intertwined and they require constant skills development. So working through building those different strategies and approaches to make sure that every single person that works on my team
Yeah.
and every person that works with us have the tools and skills they needed to achieve their particular role objectives, so that we can deliver value to Marylanders.
Yeah, excellent. So, what about the cyber resilience infrastructure? How do you view that? How do you define that?
Certainly. So I defined it as, I wish that no system would have a problem, and that
Hmm.
there weren't constant cyber attacks, or there's a random outage in your supply chain somewhere. But unfortunately, it happens, right?
Yeah,
And
you live in the real world, right?
I'm forced to. I like to dream, but you get pulled back in.
Yeah.
So when I think about cyber and digital resilience, it's all right. How do you ensure that your mission can continue?
Yeah.
And you can achieve that in different ways. One, from like a purely technology perspective, I mentioned I spent a little time as a cyber architect. You can design and build different design patterns or architectures that build in resilience. Like from a cloud perspective, operating out of different regions, so that if one region goes down, you're good in another,
Hmm.
or having good disaster recovery and so on and so forth. So that's one technical aspect. The other part is more, I'll say, administrative and more maybe business oriented, and that's
Hmm.
making sure that you have good business continuing disaster recovery plans in place, as
Hmm.
well as what is it called, PACE, your primary, your acceptable, your contingency and emergency
Hmm.
communications and technology plans, so that hey, I just lost my primary ability to achieve whatever the mission or objective is. All right, we're going to move to plan B so that we can deliver some degree of continued service. Might not be the full experience, but it's enough to serve the mission, and then pretty much work down that. So that's when I think of when I'm reference cyber resilient architecture. There's the technology component, and then there's the more non-technical component of it as well.
Yeah, so you talk about the disaster recovery plans. Do you exercise those plans with like tabletops or things of that nature? Just curious about that.
Yeah, I will say, all good programs do that. And I won't dive into the particulars here, unfortunately, but we do test the plans just to make sure that they're accurate and relevant, because technology changes, processes changes, so you want to make sure those plans stay up to date.
So let me ask you a question regarding your contemporaries in other states. Do you exchange ideas with them on a regular basis? Is there like a forum where you all get together and say, "Hey, here's what we're doing here in Maryland," and Illinois says, "Oh, we're doing this." Do you do a lot of that type of activity, James?
Yes. I'll say the other state CISOs and state CISO equivalents are amazing to work with. Now, I can't say I remember all 50 names in our territories, but to call out what New Jersey's doing, Mike, their CISO, amazing. Yeah. What Ryan's doing in Arizona, amazing. What's being done in Illinois and North Dakota, South Dakota. I'll say all 50 states are amazing. Amazing work. We do communicate. We have different ways of doing so, either just through like different public-private partnerships, it's through different messaging apps. But we are in constant communication. We're constantly sharing ideas, and it's an amazing community. And I was so happy when I was able to join it and be introduced and welcome to the group. It's an amazing community.
Well, with all the shifting of the policies in the last year, nearly mirrors the time frame that you moved from federal to state your state responsibilities. Your contemporaries, do they have any comments about the shifting budgets and the shifting responsibilities to the state level? It sounds like that maybe it's been embraced and maybe it's even liberating, or is it something else?
I'll say from my experience so far, the one thing that I'm personally looking forward to seeing solidified is the state and local cybersecurity grant program. And what that is funds from the federal government that is allocated to state and local government to pretty much invest in their cybersecurity programs to make us collectively a lot more resilient, because state resilience is national resilience, right?
Yeah.
So it all ties together, but I think that for the most part, we're really looking forward to seeing that program extended, and I think it's working its way through Congress now to some degree. But I think that's the biggest area that I am looking forward to seeing solidified.
But do you, when you're talking to the other state CISOs, does everybody view it as maybe a competitive advantage or competitive requirement to attract business, and to do you have to have a good infrastructure protect on cybersecurity, because it's no longer at the national, but it's now at the state, and some states are going to be better at it than others. Does that seem to be a fair assessment?
I won't say from I think my perspective of it is not necessarily competitive in a sense. We all have the same goal. Like we want our institutions to be as secure as possible.
Yes.
But I can't disagree. Of course, there's always competition. But I'll say that's outside of my purview in a sense.
Yeah. Okay.
My goal and focus is making sure Maryland's secure as possible.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question then. So, cybersecurity is, it doesn't know borders, but now that it's state by state by state responsibility, more or less, the weakest link in a chain, exposes you. So, is there that consideration in this new approach, making the states responsible?
In some respects. I will say that there is a high degree of information sharing between the states.
Yeah.
So we do our best to take care of each other. Then we have CISA is still playing a role. They do have programs that makes information available to the states. So information sharing still occurs and it happens.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, I think we are in a relatively decent shape there. Of course, there's always can be improvements naturally. We can always get better at it. But I'll say from that respect, information sharing happens, and I think that's the biggest thing states and the federal government and local government can do is share information they have about what's going on.
What is special about Maryland and their approach to cybersecurity?
What I find unique about Maryland is think about where we are in our positioning.
Yeah.
Down the road, proverbially down the road, we have DC, the home of the federal government, right?
Yeah.
Which is full of amazing cybersecurity, privacy, AI talent.
Yeah.
And we have some other institutions such as the NSA. We have the University of Maryland university system, which trains amazing technology professionals across the board. So we have this fusion of amazing talent, which may or may not exist elsewhere, but I know for sure it exists here, that we take advantage of, which means we're able to have amazing conversations, both public sector, private sector. We have the Capital Beltway with an amazing amount of businesses. We have the businesses in Baltimore area. So we have that fusion of talent. So what's unique about Maryland as opposed to cybersecurity is that we can take advantage of that, so that when we're building policies, when we're building architectures, when we're thinking through the future of cyber AI privacy, that's at our disposal in spades to help us build the best program possible to again support our state. But as I mentioned before, we share information to various different parties so that we can share that knowledge, so that we make the whole a little bit stronger as well.
Yeah, and I love your early days, at Comcast. It really, I hear it coming through strongly in your new role. It's interesting. Yeah.
Definitely, it's. I think everything ultimately boils down to taking care of your people. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a great observation, James. So I always ask our guests if there's one thing that our audience can do today, just the one thing that could improve their cybersecurity position. What would that one thing be, James?
So I think everyone knows the big four, good passwords, multi-factor authentication, patching, and watch out for phishing. But I think if this is my last comment for this podcast, it will be take care of yourself individually. Being a cybersecurity, just being a technology professional, just being a professional, honestly, it is way too easy to burn yourself out, right? Yeah. So my one comment to improve your position is you got to make sure you take care of yourself, be it meditation, going for a run, lifting weights, playing video games, whatever it is that allows you to de-stress, whatever it is that allows you to collect yourself, so that you can bring your best self to your role and honestly to your family as well. Do that. That is probably the best thing you can do to improve your individual position in your career.
That's wonderful advice. Yeah. Well, James, I tell you what, we'd love to have you come back again as you rack up your second and third years in your role here in Maryland. And when you become governor, please return our calls. I appreciate that. So anyway, on behalf of the SafeHouse Initiative, our audience, and everyone else, thank you ever so much. You really, you're inspirational, and you're a lot of fun to talk with.
Thank you again, Jeff. Happy to come back. And thank you to the audience. Feel free to reach out to me if you ever have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, James. That's our episode. We greatly appreciate you joining us and hope it was a wonderful learning experience. I'm your host, Jeff Edwards, and remember, be safe, be resilient, and be kind to each other. For more educational materials, please visit us at safehouseinitiative.org. All materials are free from tracking, promotions, memberships, or fees of any kind. SafeHouse Initiative is an all-volunteer organization.